go as Kaylee Mudge goes. And we rely on those really good at-bats. That's what it comes down to. Someone in that leadoff spot, you want them to step in the box, have a good, gritty AB, try to see a lot of pitches, and set the tone for what the offense is going to do.
We've seen some really mature at-bats from this Florida State team, and they're on the second pitch, just out of reach of Enema Sellers. And that's what we're talking about when you talk about Kaylee Mudge, finding a way to get on.
And swinging early in the count. Only 2 pitches needed, took the first one, swings at this next one, just finds a way to get over Sellers, drops in, love the layout.
So much aboard for Janai Kerr, who has had a hit in 16 of her last 18 outings, hitting .462 during that time. She'll take a cut at the first pitch, and it gets away from Julia Desiderio. Mudge in a scoring position. You're going to see both of these teams, they love to run the bases. They both have over 120 stolen bases on the season. That will go down as a stolen base for Mudge. They're going to look at this play again. Did she foul it off? Oh, they're looking at the count.
That could be the only thing that Travis Wilson would be asking. He's not going to take a peek at Mudge with the stolen base, but I think it's more so
I don't think she hit it.
no.
Can confirm she swung.
She did swing. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks like a swing and miss.
Yeah. I don't see the... Let's see if the ball, does it change spin? Does it change direction at all?
Solid pitch, though, by Oaks. Look at the downward spin.
Yeah, and it never stops its rotation.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful look by our crew.
I love that slow-mo camera out there in center.
Oh, they're going to put her back.
Wow, they're actually going to say that Janai Kerr got a little piece
or
of
if not that, did she leave early?
No, she would be having to go back to first if it's a foul ball. Can't steal.
That's true. Yeah, right. Okay, interesting. I didn't see her hit the ball at all. But they might have a different look than we do. So, stolen base wiped off the board. Mudge back at first, and Janai Kerr, the 1. Do you want to talk about the at-bat that we saw Janai Kerr have yesterday, or
the 7-minute at-bat?
Yeah, the 13-pitch at-bat.
13 pitches, 7 minutes. That was over a 3-hour, 20-minute game you and I called it. It was yesterday, if you were wondering.
Wow, it feels like it was last week. Yeah, that was the second batter against UCF. Janai Kerr coming up, 7-minute at-bat.
And I really like her in that 2 spot. I mean, she leads this team in average. Great pop off the bat.
Chasing it as Mudge goes. And the arm sticks out for obstruction, so she's good to go at second.
You're going to see Carson Oaks. She's not someone that has velocity way up in the 70s like someone like a Donnie Goborn. To her, it's all about being able to mix speeds, change speeds, use that change up. She can go up in the zone a little bit, has that curve. But I think being able to come in and especially kind of establish that off-speed pitch is so important going up against this Florida State team swinging a hot bat right now, a lot of pop.
Just the 8th start of the season for Carson Oaks. Saw her 3 times last week in the SEC tournament where South Carolina made its run, becoming the lowest seed to reach the SEC tournament championship game. They lost to Tennessee there, but a good momentum builder for the postseason. Goes inside to Kaylee Harding. Harding coming in on a 7-game hit streak. Gets her to chase after that for strike 2. Foul ball.
We all know that on a first time through the order is when you're trying to figure out a pitcher, what she's going to throw, whether or not Florida State came in with a game plan of potentially facing Carson Oaks, or mentality-wise, all right, we're going to be facing 75 today with Donnie Goborn. But it's trying to recognize what it's like with that off speed that Carson Oaks throws so well. I mean, this Florida State team definitely challenged with that yesterday, facing UCF and Sarah Willis. They saw a healthy dose of changeups.
7th pitch to Harding, and it's in the dirt. She'll take the free pass. So Kaylee Mudge starting with the single, and then Kaylee Harding with the walk. Florida State, though, I mean, we showed you the numbers coming in, the adjustments that they were able to make. 2nd and 3rd time through the order, they've scored 14 runs, 13 of 36. Such smart at-bats. And I think it has to do a lot with their schedule. I mean, they play a tough schedule.
Yeah.
Grind in the ACC.
Majority of those games on the road, too.
Yeah.
That builds character. It prepares you. Not hitting the panic button.
Mac Leonard fouls that off. And Lonnie Alameda talked to us about how, you know, we've won games in different ways.
Yep.
So that gives you confidence here when you're facing some new teams you haven't seen, unlike playing, you know, one of your conference opponents 3 times in a weekend.
I used to love when you made it to postseason because you're not playing conference teams anymore.
Right.
You're not playing that same familiar foe that really knows you playing 3 games.
How did it change your prep?
It's not so much that it changes your prep. You just know that you're not having to face, usually you're not facing the same team 3 days in a row. So I think for me, when I was pitching, it was like, all right, nice. This team isn't going to be as well prepared as a UCLA or an Arizona State like in the Pac-10 back in the day.
Mac Leonard and the Sellers hopping up, and they turn 2. South Carolina going 3 for 7 in the regional so far with a double and 3 walks. She's been playing in right field. Usually we're used to seeing Jen Cummings at the catching spot, but a little banged up, so can only play in the field. But Jordan Fabian, I feel like she's been a good table setter for this Gamecock lineup this weekend.
Well, and even when you go back to talking with Coach Bev Smith, the first thing she says, don't let her average or the numbers fool you. She's in that spot for a reason. She's so feisty when she steps in the box. She has good, gritty at-bats. She leads this team in home runs.
She's got 3 hits on the weekend. How about that? Table setting. Jordan Fabian takes that first pitch. Just laced it down the left field line.
Swinging first pitch. Pitch misses a little bit over the plate. But like I said, Dubois is not someone that has high velocity, so Fabian on time with this pitch gets it right past Harding at 3.
Brings us to Zoe Leno. Going small ball. It slowly rolls to Dubois. Fabian going to third. Safe. And Leno at second. South Carolina has a new philosophy on the bases thanks to their new hitting coach, Josh Bloomer. You gotta make them throw us out, and they are good at running the bases. So smart.
Straight up challenging the defense. But I will say this, you can't not be thinking bunt from the two-hole hitter Leno with that runner on first base. She drops the bunt, but the problem here, no one goes for it. Dubois thought about it, but you love that heads-up base running by Fabian. She gets to 3. Leno obviously at 2, with Josie Muffley carrying that ball, getting past the bag. You have to dig the heads up. That's what it's going to come down to here for South Carolina. It's going to be how scrappy can we be? How hard can we make these at-bats?
Riley Blampede. What was the adjustment we saw that got South Carolina's hitters going last night?
I don't think it was one thing as far as a hitter stepping in the box and, you know, zoning in on a certain pitch. I think it was an energy thing. You started to see all of a sudden some things strung together, and then the dugout going crazy, and that's...
Blampede. They have to throw back to first because Mac Leonard couldn't apply the tag, so Jordan Fabian coming home.
Feisty with the squeeze.
Aggressive start from South Carolina, carrying over from last night.
And sometimes, Courtney, when you're facing a changeup pitcher, you'll see that a team that already likes the short game, that's something that South Carolina has always in their bag of tricks, but being on time with that changeup, being able to try to expose the defense a little bit, they've done that. But I think just going back to what you were saying as far as these hitters, like once you get that energy and that's there, it's tough to lose that. And that to me, like you string a couple hits together, which has been hard for South Carolina to do this year, like back-to-back hits and getting that momentum. So you put up 8 runs yesterday, 8 hits, excuse me, 10 runs.
Hot corner, Kaylee Harding.
Allie Dubois, good mix of pitches, but changeup specialist all the way. Very similar to like a Sarah Willis with UCF, who we've seen in this regional throw a lot. She likes to work the lower half of the zone, has that drop ball.
And now she's facing the hitter that we talked to you about when we looked at South Carolina's lineup, Jen Cummings, 3 for 7. Got a piece of that, but Dubois ahead, 0-2.
You have to think about the turnaround, too, for South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Long day at the ballpark.
Played 2 games yesterday, had a 30-minute break in between.
And she said they got there at 1 o'clock, and they ended up sending the last team to the text at 11:45, and then saw everyone in the AM at 7 a.m. breakfast. It's a short turnaround for these athletes. The wear and tear on the body, the heat, playing 2 games.
Jen Cummings taking the off speed. The runner comes home as Leno crosses, and it's 2-0 South Carolina.
I think the most impressive thing that I'm seeing here in the first inning, all of this is happening with just 9 pitches being thrown, Courtney, but it's them being on time with the changeup. Whether or not the changeup of Sarah Willis helped prepare this team, but they are not fooled. And usually the amount of swings and misses and just body being fooled by a Dubois change, it's high, but South Carolina not fooled.
Look, we're in the bottom of the first inning right now, Danielle, and it's South Carolina's offense has already scored 2 runs. They have scored 2 or fewer runs 12 times in the last 16 games, and they already have 2 on the board.
And only 9 pitches thrown, too. Like, that to me is always something that I circle and look. You have Allison Royalty warming up in the pen. And I think if anything else kind of goes sideways here, you would bring her in. You never want anything to get out of hand or a lead to get too big.
Simpson running at first base with Marissa Gonzalez up.
And most may be shocked that Dubois is getting the ball and not someone like Catherine Sandercock, but this is what this Florida State team has done all year. I'm not surprised that she's getting it. You have to trust the staff mentality. You don't want to steer away from the game plan. Has to do damage control up here.
Good job by Devin Flaherty to leap up and save that from going out to center. But Simpson will hop to second as Danielle shoos a lizard out of the booth. Thank you for that.
Which is usually not my cup of tea, but
mean,
I saw the look on your face.
Is it still in here?
It's on the cord.
I don't love that.
We're going to get through this. I got you. I wore the cutoff for a reason. I got you. You cannot deny what it's like to be able to play 2 really kind of pretty good games. Coach Bev Smith said she wasn't super stoked how they competed against Marist. She said she was having a little struggles in the dugout with them. She's like, all right, guys, we got to get this going here. But
they got the win.
They got the win and then carried that, rolled that right over to UCF and looked like a completely different team.
Crowd.
It'll be pretty good. And I think across the board, the one thing you can say about both of these teams is they have a lot of depth in their pitching staff. They have a lot of different arms that they can throw, a lot of different looks. And I think that's something when you look at potentially the day that South Carolina wants to have, Courtney, it's going to come down to more than 1 or 2 arms that is going to have to help get them through if you want to try to take down Florida State 2 games.
Why do you think that we've evolved as Devin Flaherty looking for center field, got it off the glove of Riley Blampede. Flaherty back at first safely. Why has it evolved to that? Is it because the hitting is so good?
The data.
I'm talking about the pitching staff.
The information. I just think there's such an important piece to really trying to dissect an offense and pick them apart, and to be able to bring someone in you think that can expose a potential weakness. And that's really what you're starting to see. You're seeing there's so many different advantages for the hitters, whether it's 6-4-3, whether it's the hack attack, pumping 70 on the hands. There's so much. So I think it adds a lot of value to have more than 1 or 2 pitchers on a team.
So they're going to the headset to review. I'm not sure what they're reviewing. Maybe the throw back. Did Flaherty make it back to first base in time? The original call was safe at first base. Again, all the video replays are being done in Pittsburgh. That's for the entire tournament. So no one here in Tallahassee is making this call.
And it has to be a tag. It's not did the ball get to the base. It was Jordan Fabian there to be able to lay that tag before Flaherty gets her foot on the base, and it's close.
Oh.
But one thing we can say about this umpiring crew, there has not been a lot of calls that have been overturned.
Yeah, and I think the foot's there well in time.
Yep.
And that would go along with the original call. Safe at first.
You like the heads up by Blampede in center. That would have been a heck of a catch. She really laid out for it.
Each team does get 2 challenges, and then starting in the 6th inning, the umpiring crew can initiate a review.
The one thing that we can at least say, we've seen 2 reviews a game.
We have.
We've seen
at least.
Yeah, there's been times when we'll go up in the booth and not see any. And you're like, dang, that was close. I wonder why they, but
Postseason here.
have to.
Gotta look at it.
Why not?
I love that we have that opportunity. Call is upheld. So Flaherty is safe. That's big for Florida State because now you have Area 51 herself, Michaela Edenfield, stepping in to hit, representing the tying run. She had a 2-run home run on Friday against Marist, one of 3 home runs in that game for Florida State.
And she's had back-to-back 50 ribby seasons. I think that to me has been one of the most impressive things for Michaela Edenfield. I mean, not only does she have to work with multiple pitchers, get to know them, speed date them, figure them out, figure out their tendencies, but she gets to go out and be consistent when you step in the box. And at times when you're younger, that can be hard. You think junior, senior catchers, they really start to, okay, I understand I have to decipher the difference between if I have a bad at bat, can't carry that on to the defense piece, but that's something Coach Lonnie Alameda really prides Michaela Edenfield in. She will never bring in a bad at bat when she's behind the plate.
Pops up, no chance to make a play into the netting. You kind of forget she's just a sophomore eligibility-wise.
Yeah.
And I love the speed dating term for her, like with the pitching staff having to learn 7 different pitchers. They have 4 pitchers that have thrown over 40 innings.
And pitchers are a little quirky, and I can say that because
you are one.
I am one, and I know how much attention I needed.
I would say
way
you're
too
quirky.
much.
Yeah,
way too much.
I can confirm that as your booth catcher.
Pressure situations, anything you feel like I need up here? Is it a good chuckle or damage control with the lizard?
You did great in the pressure situation with the lizard joining us, who apparently has a name.
Shadow.
Foul ball.
Loyal Florida State crowd outlined up since 6:30 this morning for this 11 a.m. start.
They moved the game time up due to some bad weather we expect coming this afternoon. Carson Oaks gets Edenfield to swing, and Devin Flaherty is safe into scoring position.
Devin Flaherty gets her 29th stolen base of the season. This pitch, when you go back to Edenfield, looks like a curveball with a little elevation on the outer half. She swings right through it. That's a pitch we saw her take deep on Friday.
Hallie Waycaser to center. Flaherty thought about it, but the throw coming in from Blampede to short. You think Katie Dack will ever forget her birthday on Friday?
No, I love that she's getting the start today. We've seen her obviously make pinch hits and stay in the lineup, usually get 2 at-bats, but she's getting the start today. 11 home runs on the season. I mean, the birthday walk-off on Friday.
Yeah, nothing like a 2-run, home run, birthday walk-off bomb to really get you going.
You know what would have made it better?
Cake.
Smash at home. Bam.
Yeah.
You know, you walked us off. It's your birthday.
The crowd saying happy birthday to her as she came up for
Told Brett, like, don't you dare.
Blankenship makes the toss, and now I don't have to answer that question. South Carolina's still up 2-0. We'll go to the bottom of the 2nd inning when we come back.
I think this just goes to show the parity of where our game is at, and having to go out there with the grit in respect of the game to just give it everything that you have.
Julia Desiderio hitting to third, and Harding cleans it up. But I like how they approached it. Coming into this season, the first team meeting, they sat down and they watched the entire game as a team. And Kat Sandercock told us it was emotional. I mean, she said, I was in mourning for days after that game and then had to watch it again. But the benefit was we watched ourselves, we realized what we did, and that's been fresh in their minds all season. We're not going to let it happen again.
And being aware and in tune with what that felt like allows for a different feel heading into a Sunday like today. Regardless of the score, you're aware of that. They know that the energy was down last year. Like, they constantly remind themselves, if it looks like a teammate isn't bringing something that they need, they're all about this group getting to where they need to go, and they do not want that sour taste in their mouth again. But I know that everyone is thinking it, but I you know, watching UCLA go down 2 yesterday, that was
wild.
Shocking.
Yeah. First time in a while we won't have UCLA in Supers, much less the Women's College World Series.
Every single year since 2015, they have been in OKC. No mo.
Mayhem.
Yeah. That's part of the game. That's why you have to play the game. On paper, there's certain teams that are supposed to win. I talked to Lonnie Alameda about it. They're supposed to win. But if you go in with that mentality of, hey, we're supposed to, that pressure feels thick. If you just go out and respect the work, understand how hard that you've worked to earn this opportunity, it allows for it to be an even playing field.
Changeup popped up in the air by Emma Sellers and grabbed by Mac Leonard. 2 down. Now Allie Dubois and her defense will face the number 9 hitter, Brooke Blankenship. She's had some momentum plays for South Carolina this weekend. Throwing a runner out from her knees from shortstop.
I like her in that 9 spot. I mean, leads this team in average. Can really turn that lineup over, have a good quality AB. And she looked good yesterday. She really did. I felt like she made some great defensive plays. She was clutch.
And Brooke Blankenship knows this field pretty well. Played at Florida State, transferred in the summer of 2022.
And you even made that comment yesterday. We talk about travel ball teammates when they play against each other with Donnie Goborn and Rowe from UCF. But nowadays you're starting to see a lot more ex-teammates at the collegiate level that are competing against each other, which is definitely something you're still getting used to, that transfer portal.
How much do you think it's added to the parity of the sport? The portal being able to get, you know, one pitcher, one big hitter that could change your lineup.
You have, well, you can't not explore that because it's helping our game continue to evolve. And like you said, if you need a pitcher or someone sneaks in there, but there's other things that you think about too, like the recruiting of these young athletes from such a young age, and then you got to put this trust in a sophomore that is in that portal. It can always be very interesting, but these coaches are all, for the most part, pretty open. Like, you'll talk to Cindy Ball-Malone, who called Heather Tarr at Washington when she wanted to get Sarah Willis from the transfer portal. I think word of mouth is a really important piece, too, to seeing why the athlete wanted to transfer, what these head coaches are saying about them, but straight up speed dating.
Strikeout number 2 for Allie Dubois, and what a response after giving 3 hits up in the first. She takes care of the side here in the second.
She threw 16 innings pitched last weekend, gave up 8 hits, had 26 strikeouts. And then they came in Friday night with the mentality that you want to win. So they go with Donnie Gobourne, but it didn't work in their favor. She threw that season high, 145 pitches. But I will say, some great rest yesterday.
Yeah.
To put her in a position today to be able to come in relief like she has done.
And we don't know if we'll see her for sure, but looking at the pattern that South Carolina has been using with their pitchers, you think we could. And then if you're the hitters, if you're Florida State, you're keeping in mind, like, okay, this is what we're seeing here, and then got to make the quick adjustment, and they've been good at that.
If we don't see Donnie Gobourne today, we got a problem. I mean that. Like, she's a senior, and if you want to get past this weekend, you need to play 2. And she will definitely make an appearance, but the softball world needs to see her one more time, right? Like, she's someone that has earned that respect by so many. I mean, the amount of messages that I'll get from people where it's like, can we get her another year?
Off the end of the bat of Josie Muffley. Sellers retires her. Bev Smith being one of those. She said, I think it took me 2 weeks to walk upstairs to the compliance office and see if she had any more eligibility. And Bev goes, she doesn't.
I think to me, it's just that respect between both of them is there. And you can tell when they speak to each other, you can see the growth in Donnie from when she first threw to where she's at now. And this is a team, we asked Donnie, a big moment for you where you just had this belief in yourself and the belief in the squad, something that stood out. And the first thing she said was when we beat LSU in an SEC, our first game. That allowed for us to realize, like, all right, man, we can compete with these teams. It's going to be a really fun ride. And I actually remember asking Beth Tarina, the head coach of LSU, about that. She said, unfortunately, we just got velo after velo. We got Carlin Pickens from Tennessee at 75, and then Donnie Gobourne at 75, and we'll just be the guinea pigs, I guess.
Right now, though, Carson Oaks has been working in the circle since the start of this game. Oh, that one slapped quickly to Fabian, and good job of the Sellers to run over.
Man, these are the plays, Courtney, just absolute laser. Bad. Fabian glove up, eyes ready, rocked it, but still, when you get those hot shots on the corners.
All right, so let's see the adjustment here from Janai Kerr. She struck out her first time up against Carson Oaks.
On that off-speed pitch down in the zone with that changeup. See how she adjusts to Oaks changing speeds here.
Janai Kerr, top recruit coming out of high school. She's really playing smarter, Lonnie Alameda told us. That's showing up by making that adjustment, whether it's within the same at-bat or on the next at-bat.
Confidence comes through preparation, and this young lady has put in so much work. Kaylee Rafter, who's volunteer assistant at Florida State, hitting with her every day. You can't expect to step into situations and that everything falls into place without respecting the work that gets you to that point. Like, that's the difference between the good and the great. The ones that have built up that mental piggy bank of like, man, I am invincible right here. I can do it because I've done that work. And she carries herself that way. You can tell she looks like a completely different player than last year. Her numbers are up, her confidence is up. But you said it, the adjustment piece. And it's not so much making adjustment AB to AB, which is important. It's pitch to pitch, and not getting beat on that same pitch. And that, to me, is probably the most impressive thing.
2-2. Got jammed up. Carson Oaks will take it for out number 3. Top of the order for South Carolina against Allie Dubois. Florida State in their Sunday Golds, as they call them. What did you think about that last inning for Dubois? I mean, the adjustment for her in the circle after giving up 3 hits and 2 runs in the first.
Biggest difference for me was spots and where she's throwing those pitches. Obviously, that changeup is spinny. That's tough. But when you miss with your hard and your drop and you miss a little bit more over the plate, that's when you can tend to get hit. But last inning, I thought she spotted the corners really well. Location is key, and she's a prime example of someone that you don't always need 70 miles an hour to be successful in this game. You can throw multiple speeds, have good command.
Smile on her face after that one. 2 balls and a strike. Allie Dubois, starting out at Boston University, was a 3-time Patriot League Pitcher of the Year, the Conference Rookie of the Year back in 2018. Redshirted last year. Fabian timing it up. Will she find room? Kaylee Mudge says no. Here comes Zoe Leno. Got her second hit of the regional in her first at bat in the first. 4 of her last 6 hits are for extra bases coming into this game. Oh, she thought about it. That was pretty.
You can just see the big smile on Dubois' face when she turns to her infielders after she throws a great pitch like that. Those are just the little things that help build you up when you see those types of takes.
Dubois head 0-2. Just over the head of Harding, fair. Perfect placement from Zoe Leno. Second hit today.
And you see the smile on Zoe Leno's face. And fooled with the lower half, it is just a game of inches, and it's a hit in the book no matter what it looks like. It finds the green, it flares right over Harding's head. I love the effort, but could not have put it in a better spot where no one was. Just a floater right over.
Tricky, tricky. Zoe Leno entering this game, her last 9 outings, 179, and she's got 2 hits today. Brings us to Riley Blampede, who had an RBI in the first. First multi-hit game for Leno in her last 20 outings.
I felt like Leno in that UCF game caused chaos with that short game.
Yes.
And I think that that adds a lot of value, and it may not show up in the stat department as far as like, oh, your average is jumping, but I think that's something that South Carolina takes pride in. And Coach Bloomer, the hitting coach, it's all about trying to go that extra mile, try to put that pressure on the defense.
Blampede trying to go short game 2. She does move Leno. So now Florida State's defense constantly thinking, okay, is the short game coming? Like, that's in the back of their mind.
I mean, it's there, no doubt about it. And then you're more aware of it on the corners. Like, okay, hey, where are we standing? Mac Leonard, Keely Harding. Obviously, I think with a runner at second base, probably not going to see bunting here by Anaya Black, but
just over the head of Flaherty. Leno coming around. Tag applied by Edenfield. Florida State saves the run from scoring. About your defense, Michaela Edenfield holding things down back there. What did you see on that play, and what did you like most?
Simple, right? Pick it, throw it, tag it, keep it simple. There was a good rhythm to it, so yeah, very nice. The out, I guess. I like the out most, right?
Absolutely.
Coach, I have to ask the message to the group. Obviously, you guys have talked about your plan and offensive approach going up against Donnie Gobourne potentially.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, she brings it. It seems like we got a pretty good strike zone. You got to get one or the other. See if she can get it in the zone. You know, that's something that we've seen a little bit. Like, we want to chase outside the zone. But this is awesome. This is awesome softball right now.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know what I dig the most? Like, that smile is so genuine. Like,
she loves this.
This is what it's all about. This is what the postseason is all about. Like, especially when you get the opportunity to host in your home and it's your crowd, it's special. And when you get this matchup of Donnie Gobourne going in with the lead, this is something that she knows well, and a great opportunity here. This is the transfer. She's been incredible to watch throughout her season here at South Carolina, and something that's impressed me the most is just she's continued to get better every single outing.
Now, back in January, Donnie Gobourne, maybe not a well-known name in the softball world. Went to junior college, then transferred to FAU, and now to South Carolina, where she has thrived. And a first pitch strike. You heard Lonnie Alameda mention it. Can she keep it in the zone? We've seen her struggle here over this now her third outing.
Yeah, I think with the command more so than anything, she has that good rise ball. Everyone that knows her knows she throws hard, but it's the difference right there. That pitch, that changeup needs to be in her back pocket. She has to be able to throw that with conviction, but more importantly, be able to locate it where she needs. That makes everything else that much better. The rise ball jump a little more, and that fastball feel even hotter.
The changeup is something she developed in the fall working with Bev Smith. She told us, I had tried over and over to get the change to work, and finally we figured it out. Skies at Desiderio looking for it, no. And on Friday night, when Donnie Gobourne threw 145 pitches, the change wasn't there. She was struggling to locate. She was struggling to stay in the zone. In the 5th inning, she went out and worked on it, and I thought it got a little bit better in between innings.
It does, and sometimes it may be a mechanical thing. Sometimes you just look at how Donnie Gobourne's windup is. She's very fast, so when she comes through her release with the changeup, timing, everything has to be on point. And when it's not, obviously the pitch does not work in her favor. And sometimes I just think, as far as needing to think, oh man, I have to make this huge mechanical change, it can be a cue word or something that Bev Smith says to her that locks her in of like, all right, this is the adjustment I need to make on this pitch. But we also know last week in SEC tournament, it was slippery, and she complained a little bit about hand, maybe not having the best command, but snipes it right there with the little off speed to Keely Harding.
Yeah, gets Harding swinging.
And respect, that's all you can do. That tip the cap mentality, because she's a pitcher at times where you will get beat. You see Keely Harding talking to Devin Flaherty in that on-deck circle, passing on information. That's what it's all about.
Mac Leonard here. First pitch strike. She's gone first pitch strike to both batters she's faced. And now Gobourne ahead 0-2. That's important. She was behind in the count a lot on Friday night. There's her mom, Chandra, watching on. She made the 8-hour drive up. They live in Florida, but far away from Tallahassee, and she is here. She's been here all weekend to watch Donnie. Put Donnie in baseball when she was about 7 or 8 years old.
Gosh, I'm telling you, like, since I become a mom, those things hit home when you see the parents and you see how much it means to them, and their kids are out there, and the success and the constant driving and the travel ball and in the car and the miles logged to help get your kid to this point in time. It just, these are the special moments that I think I appreciate even more now that I am a parent.
And Chandra, a single mom, raising Donnie and her sisters, and she said I got to talk to her at the SEC tournament. She said it is an undescribable feeling to see where Donnie is at right now with her growth. She told me Donnie's been so lucky to have great people that wanted to invest in her in every stop, junior college, at FAU, and now at South Carolina.
When it's crazy what you learn through the grind of sport. Not just softball, multiple sports, like being coached and playing with different teammates and learning all that you learn through it is what helps prepare you for life. You're battle tested. You know, once you quit playing and you're done and you hang your hat on it, it's like you are well prepared to move into the work world with a bunch of tools in your toolbox to conquer what you want to, because you faced it in the softball world, being a student athlete.
Mac Leonard, there's a chance here for Fabian, and she will make the grab. 2 down. Mom loves it. She did tell me, Chandra told me, I said, what kind of fan are you watching Donnie? And she said, I gotta humble myself every once in a while. I get a little excited. I do scream and cheer.
I don't know what kind of parent I would be if I put my kid in this situation.
Well,
it's
maybe
different.
We'll find out.
I hope so one day, but if not, that's okay too.
Devin Flaherty.
But I do have like motherly moments up here in the booth.
Oh, yeah.
There's empathy for the athlete with certain things. Like I told you the other night, like I struggled going to sleep because I kept thinking about Megan Fremo and like what she was going through in her brain, because I felt like I lived it. It's like I know how much these athletes pour into their craft on every part of the game, mentally, physically, emotionally. They are invested. They give everything to this team. And sometimes when you see seasons end or players have performances that maybe aren't up to par, sometimes I kind of feel that more than I feel like I should.
We will talk to Bev Smith coming up. South Carolina need 1 out to get out of this inning. Donnie Gobourne ahead of Flaherty, 1 and 2. One gets away from her.
These are the types of counts where she can snipe you with that changeup. She can locate it well.
Center field, Blampede, got it. Donnie Gobourne taking care of the side, getting her first strikeout of the day. We'll talk to her head coach on the other turnaround for your group from last night, playing 2 games to today. How did you guys recover and get ready to go so quickly?
Well, listen, we didn't have much time to recover. I think the NCAA has got to do better with this, right? We were on the field late last night. They talk about student-athlete welfare. We're out here with less than 7 hours of sleep. So there's 2 days to play 2 games. I think we can make better decisions for our student-athletes. But it is what it is, and I'm really proud of our group for the grit they're playing with today on very little recovery.
Well, I was going to ask what that message was on the team bus or the team room this morning. What was the conversation with the group, especially with that short turnaround heading into today?
Well, again, you know, I'm just proud of this group. We're playing for a regional final. This is a big day for us. It was a goal this season, so they're locked in to the mission.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And South Carolina making it back to the regional final for the 5th straight time, the 5th time they've been in the tournament. They've made it here. And yeah, that is a tough turnaround. They moved the game time up to 11 a.m. local time today because of weather expected later this afternoon. And I think she's right. She's got a lot to be proud of because South Carolina has responded.
I think sometimes the NCAA forgets about how much preparation goes into these coaches and making sure you get the things dialed in that you normally do in the routine of what that is, of scouting and watching video. And South Carolina is a team that they literally only prepare for who they're facing that day. They're not overlooking anyone. They're not preparing for Florida State for Friday, all the things. So, you know, they were up late trying to get the homework done and giving the team everything they could.
This will be Jen Cummings and a new pitcher in the circle for Florida State. McKenna Reed coming in, the freshman, an all-ACC second team selection, all freshman team selection. Top 25 finalist for the National Freshman of the Year, and she hits Cummings.
McKenna Reed is that lefty. She throws hard. Upper 60s, has that great spin, has that elite level rise ball. I think coming into a game like this, it's really about sticking to the routine, taking that big deep breath, and not letting the pressure of what a day like today is consume you. You're aware of it, you know it's there, you remember the emotions of last season, not necessarily Reed, her being a freshman, but you can't play any different than you know how to. You just need to rely on the work, respect that.
How's it different for a pitcher, especially on one of these two staffs, knowing that, hey, I'm probably coming in this game? What are you thinking? What are you looking at while the game's starting, those first few innings?
You own your routine, and you know these coaches, for the most part, heading into a day like today, already had that solidified plan of this is what we're going with. We're going with Oaks, and then we're planning to bring in Donnie Goborn. And the same thing for Florida State. The plan was to throw Dubois and then to bring in McKenna Reed. So I think whatever your game routine is that you like to do when you've been in this situation before is what you have to rely on. You can't be any bigger because the moment's bigger.
Natalie Morgan in to run at first for Jen Cummings, with Marissa Gonzalez at the plate. Both of South Carolina's runs came in the first inning, where they had 3 of their 5 hits. Nice pitch coming in from McKenna Reed, and the runner's safe just in time back to first.
Michaela Edenfield is just so good at this. Oh, that was close. Mac Leonard lays the great tag.
And Lonnie Alameda is going to use a challenge. So now we reset at the plate. McKenna Reed ahead 0-2 to Marissa Gonzalez.
Great spot by McKenna Reed. And she's nasty when she gets ahead of you, and she is 0-2. That's when she really does a great job of going to her best pitch and challenging you. She throws this rise ball up in the zone. If you're going to get these types of swings and misses, I continue to keep pumping the high cheddar with that rise ball.
Julia Desiderio.
And one thing I'm definitely taking note of is just the corners and how engaged they are. Mac Leonard, Kaylee Harding, especially understanding the bottom half of the lineup to me for South Carolina. The short game is huge, so constantly being aware of that on defense, not wanting to get bunted on.
Ball and 2 strikes for McKenna Reed. Originally committed to NC State, then decided to reopen her recruitment. Wanted to challenge herself, get outside of her comfort zone, and so she reached out to the Florida State coaching staff. And here she is all the way from Oregon.
I'm not sure if you just saw that little bug that dropped down, but McKenna Reed in the circle, Courtney Lyle, when she gets 2 strikes, .055 batting average for opposing hitters. Like that, wow. Only 8 hits out of 145 that she's faced with 2 strikes. Like that is...
It's a heck of a stat.
Pretty filthy.
Lifted to left, Kaylee Mudge there.
And this is the type of pitcher that you think about is the future of Florida State, number one, because this is the last year you're going to see Catherine Sandercock play, but the importance and the impact that someone like Catherine Sandercock has had on McKenna Reed to help mentor her, to help put her in this position to feel like she's fully prepared when you graduate someone like Kat. And I mean, when we got to sit down and talk with her, she really talked about the importance of Megan King and just how much she did impact her, even though in the moment as a freshman, she may not have realized how tough of a task that would be. But I think that selflessness is something that I feel like I've seen a lot of in this regional when it comes to Catherine Sandercock, when it comes to Donnie Goborn and the things she talks about with South Carolina. And we asked her about what it's like being in a regional. She said, this is only going to help South Carolina in the future with getting those recruits, getting the top recruits. Like that's, you know, she's got such a big head on her shoulders to be
so mature.
So mature to just be thinking such bigger picture things. Like, yeah, in those moments, do I want her to respond and be like, oh man, I'm so jacked. Like I get to like experience this. I'm so excited, but it's like constantly talking about Bev Smith and how happy she is for this opportunity and her teammates. And you're just seeing 2 stud pitchers that are pretty selfless.
First strike coming in from McKenna Reed to Emma Sellers.
There it is, bottom of the lineup. Using that short game. And I just think it keeps the defense honest. Three bunts today already for South Carolina. 1 that was for a base hit, 2 that were just that true sack. And I feel like that's a piece of the game that we have not seen as much of, like back when I felt like I played. Like that was a key piece. You get them on, you get them over, and you give someone the ribby opportunity, but you don't see that as much in this game anymore. A lot more pop behind the barrels of these hitters.
Strikeout number 2 for McKenna Reed. Have seen Donnie Goborn, and now we come to Michaela Edenfield. So you know, seeing 16 pitches, she's a little bit more in control today. Edenfield fouls off the first one. What have you noticed about Donnie?
Getting ahead.
Yeah.
And I think what we saw yesterday and what we saw on Friday was like everything was bleeding way down in the zone and tearing off to almost hitting the right-handed hitters. And that's when you know mechanically, like, she's working too fast or her body's not working in her favor. And I love her motion because it's deceptive. She's so quick. She's so explosive, a pure power pitcher. But then she can snipe you with that little changeup. So today, she looks different. Shocked she didn't get that change. I'm with you. And I almost think, too, Courtney, something to think about, like, early on in the season, Donnie Gobourne was really pumping 73 to 74 miles an hour. And you'll see the radar gone 67. I think it's down a little bit. I'm going to guess she's anywhere from 68 to 70 miles an hour. But as a hitter, you think about these guys facing Sarah Willis and how slow her motion was with UCF. But Donnie Gobourne, how fast and how explosive she is with that. And it takes maybe getting your feet wet in the box and failing and saying, all right, dude, I got to swing at that pitch. Like, especially when you start to get to these counts at 1-2, you're starting to guess. And you can see it with Edenfield. Was she guessing up? Was she guessing change? But you always have to be on time with something hot around the zone that can get called.
We talked about yesterday for Florida State, when you load facing Sarah Willis because of the longer windup, what's the adjustment with that piece of it when you face Donnie?
I think when you see Donnie, she gets the signal, she works pretty quickly. Once she gets on the mound and her hands go together, when she leans into her back leg to create the momentum through the front half of the pitch, that's what I would be locking in with. Hitters are always waiting for that release point. They're watching the hand, they're eyeing the hip. But everything is a timing mechanism for a hitter. And at times, that's why you're seeing stuff go to potentially more stacks, because one time through the lineup, you're going to see Carson Oaks. Second time through the lineup, you're going to see Donnie Gobourne. So I want to see if you can adjust body-wise in the box to be able to face two completely different pitchers.
This is Hallie Waycaser into foul territory.
And I think it depends on the hitter too. Like, there's some people that don't load at all, that just stay in their legs. They don't want any body movement moving forward. They stay really down. An example that Jeff and I know, stats with Jalen Alchin for Washington, is someone that does not have any lower body movement, no step towards the pitcher. So you'll see different strokes for different folks. Not everyone is the same with their approach.
Look at you.
Growing up over here.
Danielle's upset she didn't get to use. What you talking about, Willis, yesterday with Sarah Willis? Yeah.
Not happy about it.
Waycaser jammed up. Zoe Leno there. 2 down.
And that was something that I say to my kids all the time around the house. Like, I'll just randomly, like...
Different strokes for different folks?
No.
Or?
What you talking about, Willis? And I'd have Audrey, like, just randomly upstairs screaming it. And I'm, like, kind of upset at myself. So thanks for kind of opening up that wound again.
You're welcome.
Not getting it
Happy
in.
Sunday. Now Katie Dack. Earned that spot in the lineup today as the DP. She'd been coming in the last 2 days as a pinch hitter. Had the pinch hit. 2-run home run, walk-off on her birthday, Friday.
Just kind of goes to show the respect here that they have for Dak. I mean, you take a peek at where all the infielders are. They're pretty much hanging out in the outfield, feet on the grass for the middles. It just goes to show the power that she has. Which I think, to me, now that it's 2 strikes, she's not going to drop that bunt. But if she were to, that just straight Donnie. No way Fabian or Leno up the line would be able to get to that.
It's a perfect treat for a hot day right there.
You know what? And it's your own station to put the flavoring on for the snow cones. That changes the game.
That you know that.
I do. I scouted it on the way to the bathroom yesterday.
"12 straight set down by South Carolina. And Donnie Goborn has 3 strikeouts. That puts her at 200 in this game, and then they have to beat the Seminoles one more time today in order to advance to a super regional. And a new pitcher in the circle for the Seminoles. It's Allison Royalty, the 3rd arm that we've seen today.
Yep, bringing in someone new, giving her an opportunity. We have not seen her yet in this regional. And someone that is just ready to rock when she sets foot in the circle is an Allison Royalty. Great slew of pitches, has that rise, has that drop. But I think the importance right now for her coming in to the bottom of the 5th, it's going to be about executing good location, being able to find pitches you can get for a strike.
First season for Allison Royalty at Florida State. She spent 2 seasons at Arizona State, made 15 appearances last year, 31 2/3 innings pitched. And she'll walk the first batter she faces, Brooke Blankenship. Top of the order, Jordan Fabian. Her first look coming at Allison Royalty. She got a single to start the game.
Jordan Fabian, I mean, you can't say enough about her in that leadoff spot. See the corners, being honest here, knowing might drop that bunt.
Fabian, one of those players that's done whatever's asked of her over her career, including graduating high school early, a whole year early, in order to come catch for South Carolina. Now she's playing first base, excuse me.
There it is again. Always needing to be aware of it if you're on the base pass. Royalty knows this reliever mentality well. I mean, she's worked 2+ innings in 10 of 15 relief appearances.
Up the middle, gets past Muffley. Blankenship going to 3rd, runners on the corners.
I think this is a play that Josie Muffley makes. I don't know if it was that extra spin or the way that her body was. She just doesn't glove it up cleanly.
And a quick huddle up here for South Carolina. They will give it an error in E6.
And I think it goes back to like where the infielders are pinched. A little bit more up the middle, especially in that 1st and 3rd type situation with, not 1st and 3rd, excuse me. There's only Blankenship who is on 1. But still, they tend to, Devin Flaherty and Josie Muffley tend to be a little bit more up the middle, just double play type situations.
It will be first and third now after the conference for South Carolina.
Well, and Coach Lonnie Alameda came out and told them to gather around, and I think it's that quick exchange of understanding, okay, hey, what happened to us in the first inning? We had the squeeze. We had that play that happened. So it's being aware, it's talking about it, it's communication.
Blankenship at third, Fabian at first, thanks to the error. Nobody out for Zoe Leno. And she shows bunt. There goes Fabian to second.
I feel like we saw a lot of first and third situations yesterday where the throw would go down to second. We saw a lot of runs score. I think we saw that at least twice happen against UCF.
Leno fouls that off, and Allison Royalty ahead 0-2. Leno already with 2 hits today. Drop third strike. Runner coming home. Out.
So good, Courtney. Michaela Enfield, 0 panic. That's such a big league play. Drop third strike. It gets by her. You hear everyone kind of calling for a second. She sneaks a peek. She makes that throw. She gets back to where she needs to. She says, get out of here. This is my plate. Perfectly executed. We've seen some defensive plays from Florida State today where they have just rose to the occasion. And those are the things they need to use to pump them up, get them going.
Two outs now for Blampede with Jordan Fabian at third. A monster play for Florida State's defense. South Carolina has now had 2 potential runs tagged out at the plate, keeping this a 2-run ball game.
And putting that pressure on the defense, forcing them to have to make that play, to execute it in the moment.
Strike 2.
Sandercock, cooling towel around her neck, up and cheering.
Into the dirt, gets away from Enfield. Fabian holds. She stared her down immediately, so try me.
I ain't trying her today. Rock solid back there.
Riley Blampede, she's 0 for 9, but 3 walks and 2 sacrifice hits here in the regional.
And a 1st and 3rd situation. Michaela Enfield out there giving the signal to the infielders of what the play is. This is when you want to be locked in as a defense. What is the play? Blampede steals. Where are we going? Who's cutting it off?
The DP, Anaya Black, up. And Blampede's going to go ahead and take second. Time called by Anaya Black.
As much as the crowd's fired up, that to me is not a strike. There's been pitches at times we've seen over the course of this regional where we're like, okay, hey, maybe, I think that's close, but that one, that screwball on the inner half, I just think it's riding a little bit too much towards the hitter.
South Carolina trying to add some more insurance runs. They scored both of their runs on the board in the 1st. Right down the middle, even count, 2-2. Another full count coming. Got through. Fabian comes home. They're looking for 2. Blampede will join her. Anaya Black at second.
It's a really clutch at bat. She works the count well. She hits a mistake that's left up in the zone, and you see the frustration on Allison Royalty's face. And this is what it comes down to on this stage. It comes down to being able to execute the pitch that's thrown in the location that it's being called at. And these elite level hitters, especially with the swagger that South Carolina is carrying themselves at, they're a team right now that has been swinging it well and executing on pitches that are missed, hitting those missed spots.
Two RBI single for Anaya Black. She advanced to second on the throw. And Aaliyah White will come in and pinch run. We saw the damage she did yesterday. She's super speedy on the base paths, but also she did well in the box, too, for South Carolina, staying in the game.
And she was our Capital One most rewarding performance.
You bet she was.
You forgot that was last night.
Could have been last month.
Who knows?
Been here forever. 2 for 2 yesterday against UCF. Foul ball. This is Hannah Hawley. Now she's behind 0-2 to Royalty. Those 2 runs, man, how
Clutch.
big.
Yep.
South Carolina's got to win this one and the next one to advance.
Especially with how Goborn's been throwing. Like a 2-run cushion is pretty good, but I think when you give her 4 to work with, it just kind of builds that confidence up for her even more.
This is just the 3rd time in the last 16 games that South Carolina has scored 4 more runs.
It's a momentum. It's just carrying that over from last night, whether they got 7 hours of sleep or 17. I mean, it's all about repetitive.
You sleep for 17 hours?
Oh, that'd be nice. There's a couple times I flew over to Japan and didn't sleep on the flight, which was close to a full day. I could sleep for 17 hours if I don't sleep.
Oh, man.
I mean, I know you're a creature of habit and your 6:30 wake-ups, but not everyone likes to wake up at 6:30 and text people. I like a good, 7 is a staple for me.
I know that your phone's on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
So I feel okay to send it in anyway. Allison Royalty with the K.
Yeah, I don't think that that's a bad idea. I think you really start to think long and hard about your next AB and what adjustment you want to make, and it's not to go up there to try to go deep. It's more so trying to figure out ways to get to Donnie Goborn, seeing her pitches, and trying to get something going. And we've seen that from South Carolina today, making these pitchers work.
Donnie Goborn entered this game in the 4th inning after Carson Oakes got the start. Florida State with just 2 hits, and Bev Smith is going to run out and talk to Donnie in the circle.
And about 23 minutes in between the last pitch thrown by Donnie Goborn to go into the dugout to when she came back out. So 23 to 25 minutes before you throw your first pitch, that's a lot when you think about it. So not that we're not warm here in Florida, the body's warm, but sometimes the mind can just wander. So I think it's being able to go out there, that quick conversation, get dialed, get right.
Well, while they talk it over, I want to let you know the Women's College World Series returning to Oklahoma City. The action begins Thursday, June 1st at noon Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2023 Women's College World Series, you can go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Pep talk worked, back on track for Donnie Goborn. She comes with the first strike that Josie Muffley has seen.
And I think this is probably one of the most important bats of this whole, at-bats of this whole day. With the 9-hitter, quick turnover to the top of the lineup. When you're pitching against the 9-hole, you cannot have that mentality of letting it get away from you and giving up that free pass. It has to be attack all the way, especially, the top of the lineup getting their second at-bat off of Donnie Goborn. You want to try to attack the bottom half in Josie Muffley.
She does get a hold of the pitch, but to shallow left center, and Riley Blampede, no problem.
Excited to see Kaylee Mudge her second at bat here against Donnie.
This is actually the first time she's gone up against Donnie Goborn.
There you go. Keeping me honest.
I got you. Florida State hasn't had a hit since the second inning.
And I think there definitely is a different feel when you head into Sunday, Courtney, knowing that these two teams have not played yet. Like if Florida State was coming into today and UCF won, they know what it was like to play them. On Saturday, they had those game feels. Sandercock threw well against that team. So there's all those things that are built up in the mental piggy bank of like, all right, good, we got this. But when you're going up against a team that you have not faced, they created some good momentum in both games yesterday to put themselves in a position to try to come out today. Just a little bit more dangerous, not having as much information, I think.
See McKenna Reed and Catherine Sandercock talking. Ball 3, full count now to Mudge. Right into Blampied's glove.
That's a good piece. Sometimes that's a tip your capper. If you're Kaylee Mudge, it's not that that's, I mean, you hit the tail off it. You literally just hit it right at the center fielder. So you cannot chalk up something like that as a bad at bat. It's just, defender was in the perfect spot.
Janai Kerr now with 2 down, nobody out.
And that's a pitch over the course of the last couple days that Donnie Goborn was having a tough time spotting. That fastball a little bit lower in the zone. It was falling off. It was down. Didn't have that good crisp location. But hey, let's be real. Like, this straight beast mode mentality on Championship Sunday. Like, you have to go to bed with a different mentality, knowing you're waking up today and you're playing for something bigger. You don't need to perform differently, but how you sharpen the mind heading into a day like today, like you're talking good thoughts as you're going to sleep, and you're knowing that there's no one better, regardless of who's out there. Like, you are your biggest cheerleader. You only have your back more than anyone else. So I think the more you're able to lock in and say, hey, maybe I haven't thrown great Friday. Maybe I didn't throw how I needed to, but my back's up against the wall, nobody better. And that needs to be the mindset that all these athletes need to have. And you're seeing that definitely here from South Carolina in Donnie Goborn.
It helps too. She got to recover yesterday, just
Yep.
1 inning pitched.
Yep.
So she could take care of her body after throwing a season high 145 pitches on Friday.
I think that could be the biggest difference, having that going into today for her.
She strikes out Janai Kerr. South Carolina has retired 15 straight. Runs in the 5th, 2 more runs came across. And now Marissa Gonzalez starts us off here, still facing Allison Royalty in the circle. Florida State went Allie Dubois to start, followed by McKenna Reed, who entered in the 4th inning, and then Allison Royalty took over in the 5th.
When you look at South Carolina just over the course of the last 2 games, The UCF one last night, today. And we're talking 14 hits, 14 runs, and great defense. And I think when you're able to put up that many runs, it gives you such a different type of confidence that maybe we haven't seen this team have all season. They've had the confidence in Donnie Goborn. They know when they have those tight ball games, 1-2 runs. But this is a team that has played with a significant lead in back-to-back games, and you can just see that they're playing a lot more free. And on the flip side, for Florida State, you cannot be playing with the mentality of not wanting to lose. Because if you're thinking that...
Josie Muffley, Sports Center top 10. Laying it all out.
Just a little Rob job here, a little off-speed pitch. Gonzalez gets a good piece. Oh, that's so good. Sports Center, huh? Fire department here supporting Josie Muffley.
Yeah, she does ride-alongs with them. Look at that replay, though. Did that hit the ground first?
I don't want to say anything. No, potentially, I mean, just kind of based on that slow-mo, I'd have to take one more look at it, though. I think Coach Bev Smith has one more challenge to use.
They're not reviewing this right now.
It did.
Oh, it definitely did.
The money shot was the last shot. That's when you saw that little extra bounce. And if you're Florida State, take it all the way.
Yeah, you get the out. We play on. Julia Desiderio. Janai Kerr calling forward and center. 2 down. Seminoles trying to have a quick inning here so they can grab the bats one last time. South Carolina is the home team in this game. Emma Sellers. Flaherty. Yes. And it comes down to this for Florida State. 3 outs to work with. It'll be the 3, 4, and 5 hitters as the Seminoles try to make the comeback as we go to the 7th. She'll start with Kaylee Harding. Harding, Leonard, and Flaherty up.
And a good time to start. With Kaylee Harding had a home run on Friday, probably one of the hardest, furthest balls that I've seen hit in this ballpark, hit the pavement out and left. It's a hitter you want up in a situation like this.
What is it that's caused these Florida State hitters problems today?
Carson Oaks did a really good job of spinning that off speed. I don't think Florida State was in that space maybe to understand how to adjust to it the way I think they should have. But
Leno. And Harding retired.
It's when you go and you look at how different Carson Oaks is in comparison to Donnie Gobourne and the adjustment and how hard that is for a hitter, especially when you've never seen her. These guys have not gotten to face Donnie Gobourne. They don't know what it's like until you step in the box against someone like that. And it's not to say that they can't adjust or won't adjust, but I think when you get your first ups against an elite level pitcher with that velocity and that spin, it hits you a little bit different. So with Florida State not able to get back into this game here with 2 outs left, it's going to come down to how can we adjust? How can we pass on this information? But more importantly, how can we not have the mentality to go out there when we're scared to lose, opposed to, hey, this is our house. Like, this is our crowd. You're coming in here and we're going to show you what's up. And I think if you can flip the mindset, you'll have 2 teams with their backs up against the wall. And that's always interesting when you see how they play. I love the swagger from Donnie Gobourne, wanting pitches, that little bit of frustration. Kind of think that at times that emotion piece is a fun part of the game.
She gets Mac Leonard to pop up. Leno taking it again, 2 down. Florida State down to its last out, and it will be Devin Flaherty. She had the last hit in this game for the Seminoles back in the 2nd. Her team leading 4th hit of the tournament. Flaherty smart, good eye, 2-0.
And the tempo's always the same with Donnie Gobourne. Routine is always there. Get the ball back, you turn, you do the same thing, and it's so important for pitchers. Have that routine. It's what you rely on when you need it the most, whether or not it's probably could be some of the most pressure-filled moments coming both these teams' way if Florida State doesn't get back into it. And when you get to see athletes go through those emotions, it's the best part of our game.
Flaherty caught by Gonzalez. South Carolina forces a Game 7 in Tallahassee.
I mean, the last 18 hitters